thank you, Chad and Hannah, for your time to have an interview with me. People know that we know each other for so long, but today I'm just like decided not talking about you too much because I know you too well. Let's talk about Hannah more.
Oh, okay.
So Hannah, I know that you're the secretary of Butler in England, and then where you met Chad.
Yeah.
So what brings you to just like give up everything to here to support your boyfriend? Oh no, fiance.
I don't like to think of it as giving everything up because I still have everything that's important, like my family and my friends, and they come and visit us. So I have the best of both worlds, and of course I don't regret it. I think it was meant to be, and of course I wouldn't change anything.
Yeah, so I know that's just like before the interview, you guys have just like meet your wedding planner, and because you guys will have your wedding very soon, so I'm really happy to hear the news. So how's the preparation of the wedding?
Yeah, really good. It's so exciting. Neither of us know very much about wedding planning, so we're learning as we go. But it's been really fun, and everyone's just being really helpful. So we've got lots to look forward to, that's for sure.
So I still remember the first time I did an interview with you, I think 4 years ago when you moved to Hong Kong. I asked you if you were single, and then at that time you say yes, and then I think 2 weeks later I see Hannah at the race course. So how can you convince Hannah to come to Hong Kong?
I don't know actually. My good looks.
Do you think so, Hannah?
Of course. No, we kept things quite secret for a little while, so.
Yes, I still remember the first day we had a really long day. You know, the first day you go to the race course to support Chad at that day, and I think just like after 2 races or 3 races, we end up in the hospital.
It was my first race day in Hong Kong. I thought, oh, I've brought bad luck.
Yeah.
But no, you were so helpful, and we luckily, touch wood, there was no serious problem. But at least we can look back and laugh at the memory.
That's something that we can look back and then just like make laugh. But I do believe that because of your support and because Chad is, I think in my eyes he is a kid who really needs the feeling of security. He's a little bit insecure all the time. So when you are here in Hong Kong, then you comfort him, and then he can be just like what he has achieved in Hong Kong.
Oh, of course. I think everyone needs company in Hong Kong, and I just hope to support him the best way I can, and be there for him when things are good and when they're bad. So that's all I can do, really.
Do you have any bad temper?
No, he just gets grouchy when he's tired.
So let's talk about your career actually in Hong Kong. 4 years ago, as a new freshman to Hong Kong, everyone knows that I think it's still you are the only jockey to win the Victoria Apprentice Championship and also Sydney Apprentice Championship. So what brings you to Hong Kong?
Hong Kong's a place I always wanted to ride in. Ever since before I started riding in Australia, of course you can only come to Hong Kong if you're at the top of wherever you come from, and lucky for me I had a very successful apprenticeship.
Yep.
When I came out of my apprenticeship I won some big races and I was doing very well, so I was very lucky to get the opportunity to come to Hong Kong, and when I got the opportunity I didn't think twice, I just came straight away, and happy to be here.
Do you have a moment that you regret that you are here in Hong Kong? Because you have such a good career in Australia. You are winning big races, and then just like, I'm sure if you're still riding in Australia, then you should be the top jockeys winning Group 1s. But in Hong Kong, every race meeting, maybe you just hunger to win a Class 5 or even a Class 4 races because you just want to win a race. It's a totally different feeling when you ride here in Australia, right?
Yeah, that's right, and not just me. Any jockey from anywhere in the world, they can come at the top of their tree to Hong Kong and have to start from the bottom. You know, we've seen so many jockeys, big name jockeys, come to Hong Kong and really struggle. So luckily for me, I was at a young age where I was prepared to go back to the bottom and work hard and try and climb the ladder in Hong Kong. And it's a process that takes a lot of time. This is now my 4th season, and I'm getting there slowly, but as long as I can just keep improving, keep learning, keep raising the bar, I'm happy.
You point out one thing is very good. At your age, it's very hard to take the pressure.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of gossips, lots of criticisms. So it's never easy to just like overcome it. So how can you just like face all the criticisms?
Yeah, well, unfortunately in Hong Kong there's a lot of criticism and a lot of gossip, and you know, if you have a bad day at the races in Hong Kong, it feels like it's quite tough on you when you go home at the end of the day. But you know, the races are always on again next week, and you just got to focus on the next meeting, and if you have a bad day, try and change it around as soon as possible. And when you're riding winners, everybody, you know, they all want to put you on their horses, and things happen for you. So you just got to try and keep the momentum going.
So far, what do you think of your Hong career?
My Hong Kong career has been good. A lot of hard work, but quite rewarding at times. I'm not in a position I want to be in just yet. I still feel like I have a lot more to learn and improve on, and you know, my support is something I work on all the time, and you know, hopefully one day I can be in a position where I can ride a lot more winners than I do at the moment.
I'm very happy for you because I can see how you improve and how you grow up. So a few years later, we talk about Chad. Hope one day that you can ride in Japan and you make it this year, and also just like you want to, just like I'm sure that you want to be a really international jockey. So maybe just like Hong Kong is a foundation, it's a base for you to make you stronger mentally or physically, but you also just like want to build up your name. Maybe even one day I really want to see is you winning big race when you go back to your hometown, Australia.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I think any sportsman, no matter what sport they're playing, they want to be known internationally, and that's the same for any jockey. But in saying that, I'm very happy in Hong Kong, to base myself in Hong Kong, and one of the good things about Hong Kong is you are allowed to go and ride overseas or in Australia because of Saturday and Sunday racing. You can make it back for the Sunday meetings here. So we do have that luxury to go home and still race in Australia and other places. But for me, you know, really concentrating on Hong Kong and trying to get going more here in Hong Kong.
I think to make your Hong Kong riding stint quite successful is because you have a really good advisor. It's your father. So is it, what I know is it he is the only one that you will listen about a race? So you call him and say, Dad, what do you think about my riding or something?
Yeah, we do. I speak to my dad maybe twice every day. After every race meeting, we'll talk and we'll discuss each of my rides, as I do with him when he rides in Sydney. But we're just very close, and we talk a lot. And yeah, I mean, throughout my career, he's been my #1 supporter. And my biggest critic as well. So he's pushed me as much as he could, and he's also kept my feet on the ground.
You have your own thought all the time. So maybe Glenn Schofield has another thinking of a race, how to plan out. So do you guys have any argument of a race ever?
We disagree sometimes, but my dad's such a great jockey. He's so experienced, and he knows what he's talking about, so I listen to him all the time.
So Chad, talk about your Hong Kong career. What's the most memorable victory?
Would have to be Singapore Sling in the Classic Cup. Obviously, Group 1 race, and that's the biggest race I've won so far. But even thrill-wise, my first winner in Hong Kong ever on my first meeting, I remember the excitement I got out of that. Any race in Hong Kong you win, you get a real kick out of it, and because they're so hard to win in Hong Kong, so they all feel good, but probably Singapore Sling was the best.
So what do you think of Singapore Sling this season? Do you expect him to be one of the best milers in Hong Kong?
I'm hoping so. He seems a lot more stronger. Of course, everything he did last season was his first season in Hong Kong, so naturally you'd think he would improve, and while we've seen if he can improve just a little bit, he'll be one of the best milers in Hong Kong, and it's exciting times.
Hey Chad, I know that before you come to Hong Kong, you have very good riding career in Australia, and you ride for big stable, David Hayes, for sometimes. So he give you a lot of support to make you champion apprentice in Victoria. But there's some up and downs moment when you're working with him. Can you tell us about it?
Yeah, so David Hayes asked me to move to Melbourne, because at the time I was still riding in Sydney, living with my mum and dad. And I was only 18 years old, and I moved to Melbourne as an apprentice to be a stable jockey. He had, I think, 300 horses at the time. Of course, he was the most famous trainer in the whole country. So there was a lot of pressure on me, but we had lots of winners together. And I think that really got my career going very fast.
Yep.
And being in Melbourne too, I really enjoyed Melbourne, and I did very well, and my career went to a whole new level. But the job was very tough for me because I was so young. Perhaps I wasn't quite ready for such a high pressure job.
Yep.
And in the end, we didn't work out. I think I rode for him for a year and a half, but it was fantastic. Him and his family welcomed me into their home. I lived with him and his family, and he was tremendous for me.
Do you think a little bit early for you to come to Hong Kong when you were 21?
I didn't think so. Some people said I was, but I rode a winner on my first meeting at Sha Tin, my first meeting at Happy Valley, and I think my first season I rode 33 winners. No, I thought it was a good age to come.
I'm sure that when Chad riding his century last season, yeah, so Hannah would be the happiest woman in the world, because I'm sure they just like screaming loud and it's just like supporting. Oh, we finally make it. I'm sure that horse he didn't expect to give him the century.
No, but we didn't care which horse it was. No, I'm joking.
Doesn't
We were
matter.
grateful for all 100 of them. But I know that it was his target for the season, so of course I knew how happy he would feel, and I shared that with him. Just from the sidelines, but it was just as enjoyable.
What's your objective in the future? Just like what would you like to be?
I'd love to be champion jockey in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
I think,
Is it easier when Joe Morello leaving?
of course, he rode so many winners, and now he's gone. So there's lots more winners to be had for everyone else, and hopefully this season I can pick up as many as I can, and yeah, my ultimate goal is to be the champion in Hong Kong one day. I don't know how long that will take, but I'm prepared to work hard for it.
So how do you see yourself in 5 years?
Still in Hong Kong, hopefully.
Any
It's-
kids?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much for your time, and I wish you all the best for the future, and happy marriage.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.